This is The Rumor Report with Angela Yee on The Breakfast Club.
Well, Drake is hurt, and that's because his father, Dennis Graham, did an interview. He sat down with Nick Cannon, and he said that Drake would lie about their relationship because he wanted to sell records. Listen to this.
I have always been with Drake, and we really got into a deep conversation about that. I said, Drake, why are you saying all of this different stuff about me, man? Like, this is not cool. And he goes, Dad, it sells records. I said, okay, well, cool.
I wish my dad was that understanding.
All right, so Drake on different occasions has talked about his father's alcoholism and his dad being absentee, and Dennis Graham is saying those things are not true. And Drake responded on social media, woke up today so hurt, man. My father will say anything to anyone that's willing to listen to him. It's sad when family gets like this, but what can we really do? That's the people we are stuck with. Every bar I ever spit was the truth, and the truth is hard for some people to accept.
You know, the problem with old school fathers is they don't realize they weren't really the best fathers because in their mind, they were just doing the best they could. But the things that they were going through, whether it was alcoholism, because that's stuff my father dealt with, or, you know, because him and the mom wasn't together, right?
Right,
No.
or not being around.
That's what I'm saying, not being around as much as you think you're around. Like, you know, those weekends are coming to see your son every day. That's not really parenting,
Yeah,
my
but
guy.
the problem is even though, like, you don't go against your son. You know what I mean? Like my dad would never go against me no matter what I said. He might check me later on.
I don't think he went against him. I think
Yes, he did. No, the stuff that my son is rapping about is
It's
a lie.
fabrications.
It's a fabrication.
Just to sell records.
Well, it's about him. So imagine,
Right.
I mean, think about ego and pride. If you're an older father and you're like, oh, he's saying I'm a bad father, that's not true. I was
and
around.
his dad has his own music career he's trying to
Yeah.
launch, so he probably doesn't like to hear those things about himself.
It's just about perspective. The father sees it one way, the son sees it another
And Drake
way.
might have said it sells records, but he might have felt like his honesty is what's selling records, if that's how
Exactly.
he feels like their relationship was.
But
Not necessarily that he's lying.
I just look at Dennis Graham and something about his mustache and his hat makes me think he's lying. That's just me.
You can't just judge people. We just had a
Yes,
whole
you can.
conversation about
What's wrong with his? Oh, yeah.
not
Come on
judging
now.
people just by how they look.
Put the picture back.
Yeah.
Now, does this guy look like he's telling the truth?
But it seemed like everybody had that mustache in the 60s and
pimp father. I'm
70s.
saying old school pimp
He just
father. I
said-
think I'm going to ride with Drake on this one.
Yeah, I'm with
Okay?
you. Man. I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you.
All right, now Cyn Santana, in the meantime, did an interview. She sat down with New York, who has her own podcast now, her own brunch podcast, and she talked about her relationship with Joe Budden, among other things. Here's what she had to say about leaving Joe.
Do you feel like having a high-profile relationship and having it on Front Street could have played a part in you guys deciding to separate?
We didn't decide on anything. I did what was best for my mental health, for my peace, and for
Absolutely.
me and my son. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was a decision that I had to make on my own. This wasn't a unison thing.
All right, in addition to that, she says that life is better now. Sometimes you get rid of the burden of a relationship that's not good, and you feel so much better.
Basically, let's just say that I'm probably the happiest that I've ever been.
You look.
And that was probably the best decision that I've made in my entire life. In the 26 years I have living on this earth, the best decision I made was leaving that relationship. And my son and I are amazing.
All right, so...
Well, if Joe Budden was a car, that wouldn't be a good Carfax. All right? if you're thinking about purchasing that ride, you look at that Carfax, you'd be like, ugh. I don't know. But once again, perspective, because I'm sure Joe sees it a totally different way.
Right, and I'm looking at Joe's tweets because, you know, he responds to everything.
He did?
Waiting
Did
to
he
see.
respond?
No, but I guess on his latest podcast, he's talking about parenting and...
I don't think he'll respond.
Yeah, he hasn't.
can't
yet.
I don't think he's not
Single
responding.
parent resentment topic. So I don't know.
You can't respond to that, though, because at the end of the day, that's still the mother of your child.
Correct.
Well, I'm not saying you got to diss her. You know, he might just have something he wants to say in defense of himself.
Joe got
Who
3
knows?
diss records in the clip right
No,
now
he
for Cyn
doesn't.
Santana.
He definitely does not.
20-minute freestyle, a whole hour.
All right, Nipsey Hussle has a biography coming out, The Marathon Don't Stop, and that's going to be released next year. It's the life and times of Nipsey Hussle, exploring his life, and that's going to be coming out on Atria Books. According to Complex music journalist Rob Kenner, will be the author of that book to help set the record straight amidst all kinds of misinformation that's out there. So I'm sure that's going to be a great read. for everybody who's fans of Nipsey Hussle and wants to learn more about him. Lil Peep's mom is suing his managers and tour company for his death. She says that they're the ones that actually gave him drugs. They provided an unstable environment and pushed him to the point of exhaustion, all factors that led to his tragic death. So his mom did file that lawsuit on Monday against First Access Entertainment and people associated with that company. All right, ESPN, they don't like you talking about politics on that show at all. And Stephen A. Smith was trying to discuss the Israeli-Palestinian conflict on First Take, and here's what happened.
Hold on, Molly, before we close. I would remind you that throughout this world, one of the things that exists is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I don't see folks outside of the Jewish community talking about that too often.
Okay,
Why?
guys,
Because
let's
guess
do this.
what? When
Let's
you
come back
open
to
your
this.
mouth, you have to be careful.
Okay, let's take a commercial break. Sometimes, obviously, your
Man.
moral compass trumps business interests. We saw it can cost you your job. Look at the Colin Kaepernick. Let's get a commercial break in. We will get
Yeah,
into
let's go. Let's
Zion,
come
and
back.
maybe we'll discuss
I'm not
this as well.
finished.
I should bring a Colin Kaepernick.
They cut him right off.
Drop one of Clues bombs for the Jewish community, man. I will always respect the fear that y'all strike in people immediately. I mean, soon as he uttered Palestinian and Israel and said Jewish, they jumped in Molly's ear and said, go to commercial right now. Cut him off immediately.
I will say it's a difficult
He didn't even get a
topic
chance to
for
finish.
us to talk about here.
He didn't even get his chance to finish what he was saying.
You know why it's a difficult topic to talk about? Because I don't know nothing about it.
Exactly, and
So
we
I'm-
haven't
I
been
don't-
there, and it's
I don't
not.
know anything about it. Zero.
So that's
I'm-
why it's a hard thing to try to weigh in on.
It's
you
not
know?
hard to weigh in on. I don't say nothing because I don't know nothing about it. That's when you bring up people that know, that have been. You bring up the Mark Lamont Hill has been. You know what I'm saying? Mark
You see
Lamont-
what happened with that?
Well, he's still been. He has a perspective. I don't mind any opinion as long as it's an educated
Right.
opinion, an educated perspective.
Yeah, they cut him off quick, fast.
All right, now Tyler Perry says that his studio in Atlanta will also include a compound. Listen to this.
Is building a compound for trafficked women, girls, homeless women, LGBTQ youth who are put out and displaced, and having a compound that is a beautiful place right here on somewhere on these 330 acres where they're trained in the business and they become self-sufficient. They live in nice apartments. There's daycare. There's all these wonderful things that allows them to re-enter society.
That's dope.
Dropping a
Right.
clue sponsor, Tyler Perry. I know one thing, man. Tyler Perry needs to stop calling Tyler Wood a table. Because that's more than a damn table. All right, that is a community. You hear me?
And he also built that studio on a former Confederate Army base.
Yes, he
So,
did.
How ironic is that?
Tyler Wood, baby.
All right, well, I'm Angela Yee, and that is your Rumor Report.
All right, Revolt. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody else, the People's Choice Mix is up next. Get your request in. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.